Hi friends, welcome back to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny, this is my son Mike, and we are gardening here right now in St. Paul, Minnesota. And Mike and I and my husband are going to be doing some work with trees, limbs, and the chipper shredder today. We're going to be using the chainsaw, we're going to be using power tools, safety first. So let's go and let's take a look around this wonderful, beautiful yard that has a lot of trees to take care of.
So we're going to cut a whole bunch of dead limbs. So starting on the driveway, there's all kinds of these mulberry bushes here. Anything that we can reach, we're going to cut. We're going to start with chainsaw and then bring out the pole trimmer. Along the front here, this crabapple tree, clean that up. Clean up all of the bits of this other crabapple bush tree on the right. And then along the front berm, there's a whole bunch of dead limbs and branches that need to go. So we'll use a chainsaw wherever we can, otherwise the pole trimmer. Why do hard work when you don't have to? And then on the Japanese lilac, we're debating cutting all of the branches in the first row. I'm tall enough that a lot of them can hit my head. So we'll look at each one and decide whether or not to take it out. You can see that some of them are starting to get pretty close to the house. When we moved in 6 years ago, it was nowhere near the house. So that tree's obviously grown quite a bit. We'll clean up all of that and then collect everything together, bring out the chipper shredder and clean it all up.
All right, and safety, you're going to be using your safety goggles.
Yep, so first to start with, obviously safety goggles the entire time. And then I have in here somewhere some nice gloves to use throughout as well. And then I'm wearing long pants and a really old, ill-fitting long sleeve shirt.
And good shoes.
Good shoes.
No flip-flops.
Always wear good shoes. And then actually, real quick safety, I already did this off video, but whenever you're using a chainsaw, make sure that the chain is tight. It comes very loose very easily as it heats up during normal usage. So you need to retighten this before each use. Otherwise the chain can come off and take a leg off. You really don't want that.
And you oil it or you use gasoline or...
Yeah, so follow your chainsaw's instructions.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, very good. The saw blade is pretty dull, so it's not going through there like butter like it could if it were sharper.
Yeah, so before I use that anymore, I'll want to get a new one. It's like working with a kitchen blade. You don't want to use a dull knife. You're going to hurt yourself much more likely that way. So we got through a lot of the big stuff. I think everything else can probably come down by hand. It's just safer to not use it right now.
Yep,
So,
and you forgot to mention you had ear protection.
yeah.
Cool. So when you're thinning out some shrubby trees, it's important to, number one, try to limb it up so that you can walk underneath it easily when you're doing your yard work, your lawn mowing, moving your cars and vehicles in and out of your driveway. You don't want any limbs to be coming down so low over top of you or your driveway or your vehicles that it scratches things or gets in your way. Second, you want to remove any branches that are growing from a main limb toward the interior of the tree, and certainly remove any branches that are rubbing against each other. Depending on what type of tree it is, you don't want to remove every single interior branch, but for the most part, if you see small shoots or suckers or small limbs going off of a main limb toward the interior, strong chances are it could come out and the tree would be healthier for it. And of course, if you have dead limbs in there, get those out, because otherwise they'll fly around in a storm and come down and maybe damage your property, and you don't want that. So we have a pole trimmer here. It's got a bypass blade on it. When you pull the rope, it's got a pulley system in it, and the bypass blade goes up, and it works exactly like these pruning shears. Actually, when you pull the lever, here we go, pull the lever, the blade goes up, and the branch, which you don't want to stick your finger in there, but that's how it cuts the branch, just like this. And there are attachments that you can get that would put a pruning saw on here, and then you'd have a pole saw. And also there are chainsaws, both gas and electric operated and battery operated chainsaws that you can buy that are on poles as well. So there's a lot of tools out there that you can use to manage your trees in your property, but these are the most basic, just a pole pruner and a hand pruner. Chainsaw blade we need to replace before we use it again.
So with these trees, it's a little tough because our power line runs from this pole on the street over to our house. Just like normal electricity in your house, don't mess with it if it's on. Don't get anywhere near it. Hire a professional. I'm not going to try and clear any branches that are even in contact with that wire.
Okay, we're having tool equipment failure. We're going to go to the hardware store and re-up on some tools for this job. We broke the rope on the pole pruner, and the blade on here probably needs to be sharpened. And so we're gonna go see about a chainsaw blade and maybe a new pole saw, or maybe something else. We'll have to see. All right, going to the hardware store, see what we can find to fix our tree problem. All right, what did we yield at the shopping trip?
Well, we're going to try a electric chainsaw, pole chainsaw.
Yep, an electric chainsaw on a pole that also detaches, and in case that fails, a new pole pruner. And a chainsaw replacement for the big chainsaw, some compost, and miscellaneous. So, we'll see how these work. Well, it's not a project if you don't have at least 2 trips to the hardware store, right?
Pretty well.
Yeah, pretty fast. So this pole chainsaw also works as a handheld short chainsaw.
Which is half or less the weight than the gas-powered 18-inch chainsaw.
Yep.
So this is, in my 10 minutes of using this, I would buy one of these for the vast majority of things you're going to do. It'll even cut through a whole tree like this if you need it to. So, really useful.
Okay, well, I will say that I was able to use this tool. It is a little bit heavy up there, so if you're not strong with arms above your head, you might want to get a helper to do the above the head work. But I think that the tool is really easy to use as far as how to operate it. The only downside is that I could not see the blade as I had the pole up. I had to look on the other side of the blade. But I would like to try actually having the grip and the trigger in my left hand and guiding the pole in my right hand, because then I'll be on the right side of the pole. I might be able to see the blade better than that. Well, friends, it has been quite the work day. We didn't have any idea that we were going to get this many branches out, and we haven't even finished trimming out all the trees that we want to trim. So this is definitely going to be a multi-day project. I'm going to turn the camera off for a little bit, and we'll come back at you when we have something interesting and new to show you. Well, it's a new day, and I'm working on some computer work that I have to do for other things, but my husband and my son are out working more on these brush piles. Okay, so all those big tree limbs that we took down yesterday,
That filled half the yard.
yeah, they have turned into 3-foot pile of brush, 3-foot pile of brush, 1-foot pile of brush, some firewood logs, and some more brush. So this will go through the chipper portion of the machine. This will go through the shredder, chipper. And so we'll end up with wood chips and firewood.
Yep.
and we're going to pull that out after lunch.
Yep.
All right, hold tight. We'll be right there. Okay, so we've got the piles all separated out. We've got chipping and shredding piles and firewood piles. And now Mike is getting the chipper shredder machine filled up with gas and ready to use. And he'll be giving us a brief tour of it here in just a half a second. All right, this is a gas-powered engine.
Yeah, so it's basically a spinning wheel of death on the inside.
Spinning wheel of death.
So you gotta be really careful with it, but it's gonna just chew through wood. So it's got two uses. You can shred small stuff like this. I used it to shred all of my fallen leaves earlier this spring that we had used to cover up our flowers over the winter. You just feed stuff in through the top. It's pretty simple and it comes out into the bag. For larger sticks, this can accommodate up to, I think, 3 inches in diameter. You feed this in through here. Once it starts to make contact with the spinning blades of death, it's just gonna suck it all right in. So the only comment is that things that are bent may not be able to fit through this 3-inch hole down here, but that's about it. It really is very dangerous. I don't do anything with it while it's on. You're supposed to stay very far away from it if you're not actively using it, but it chews through everything. So I expect to get through these piles of wood in, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes.
All right, and so we have this pile here that's about, I don't know, it's hard to measure how much wood that is. And then these piles over here, and this is what we're going to be putting through this machine. And then the mulch that we get out of it, we're going to be spreading in the flower beds, and we'll see how little mulch ends up coming out from these piles, which themselves are little compared to the branches that we pulled down yesterday. Anyway, all right, Mike, you take it away, and I'm going to watch from afar.
All right.
Handy little end zipper there. Just put it in a pile and we'll spread it. All right, that's one round. See how many of those we get out of these piles.
Yep.
Looks good. That's pretty fine ground right there. There are some bigger chunks, but that's okay. Looks good. Well, I guessed wrong. We don't want to put the mulch over there first. We want to put the mulch over here first. So I found some tools in the garage, and because we're in Minnesota, a snow shovel will work great to move this mulch from there to there and then finish up with this. Okay, first load of mulch on the flower bed. It's looking pretty good. I have no idea how much of this we'll be able to cover, but we'll see what we. So this job is taking a lot longer than any of us expected. And so we're gonna take turns. I'm taking my turn at the shredder. Earplugs, mask, hat. My glasses will serve as a safety glass and gloves. All right, Mike, have fun.
Yeah.
That was a hard work.
Yeah.
But look how beautiful your trees look.
Yeah, it looks great. Way more open.
Yep.
More sun.
Yep. And we got some mulch for the front garden.
A little bit.
A little bit, about a third of what you need over there. We just need 2 more work sessions like this last one.
Yeah, 6 more days.
Yeah. With 3 people doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All
But
right.
it's good.
Well, thank you, Mike, for showing us how to use a chainsaw and a chipper shredder. And thank you for watching with us. And we hope you had fun. And high five again, Mike. That was hard work.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right.
See you guys in another
Thanks.
video. Thank you. Bye.